And welcome to Level Yourself Up, where it's not about perfection but progress. I'm your host, John Budd, and I want to welcome you back to this episode 97. I want to talk to you today about being stressed. Now, before I get into that, I want to thank everybody that's been listening to the show and been trying different forms to engage people. So I want to invite you to try to engage with me. You can find me on Facebook. There's a Facebook page you can follow for Level Yourself Up. I also have a website. I plan to get some links on the websites to the group. But anyway, this week I just want to talk about being stressed. And I had this documented probably for several weeks. I read an article about how stress is good for us. So I've been pondering this, that some stress is good for us. So let's just, dive into the good stress and the purpose of stress. I don't know if you've heard the story of the butterfly or not. I'm going to include it in the show notes. But in short, a man found a cocoon of a butterfly, and one day he had sat there and watched it, and after several hours, the butterfly started to struggle to force its body through that hole, but it seemed to stop making progress. And it appeared it has gotten far as it could go and couldn't go any further, so the man decided to help the butterfly. He took a pair of scissors and snipped off the remaining bit of the cocoon, and the butterfly emerged easily, but it had a swollen body and small, shriveled wings. The man continued to watch the butterfly because he expected that at any moment the wings would enlarge and expand to be able to support the body, but neither of that happened. The body stayed fat and the wings stayed small, and the butterfly spent the rest of its life crawling around with a swollen body and shriveled wings, and was never able to fly. What was meant for an act of kindness and haste did not understand that the restriction of the cocoon and the struggle required for the butterfly to get through the tiny opening was nature's way of forcing the fluids from the body into the butterfly's wings so that it would be ready for flight once it got through the hole. Sometimes struggles are exactly what we need in life. If we were allowing to go through life without any obstacles, it would cripple us. We would not be as strong as we could have been, and we could never fly. So I like that story. I've heard it a long time ago. I Googled it, and I will put a link to it in the show notes. I don't know how true all that is, but I think it's a good example of sometimes there's things going on in our lives that we have to go through. But I think the important thing is how do we cope? How do we deal with stress? Now, in this kind of search, and there was some conversations about good stress. So good stress is the things that you go through, like when you ride a roller coaster, you go on a date and you get excited. You complete something and you get this energy because you're excited about stuff. That is a type of stress as well. But contrary to that, bad stress is the type of stuff that is chronic. It demotivates you, seems to beat you up. So I want to just talk about a little bit about stress and how we handle it. Stress is going to be with us. We can't escape it. I think if that was the case, we just got to quit fighting the stress, so to speak, and let it do its job. And I think some of that is to, eliminate stress where you can. And maybe that means saying no more often, or paring down your to-do list, avoiding people that stress you out. And I think that, I heard a couple times this week, some people said that you get a lot done. They were surprised how much I get done in a week. And I'll be honest, I think if you notice my podcast the last couple of weeks haven't been too consistent like I like. And that's because of some of the stress in my life, in my personal life, and on my job is pretty high right now. And I come home from work and I'm just kind of exhausted. And then in my personal life, a lot of stuff's going on. Not sure exactly how to deal with. I'm practicing same things I've been talking about here. And sometimes you just got to ride that course out. There's not much I can do about it. And a lot of it is just walking through the situation, realizing that I've done all I can do, and then I just got to stand. So if there's something I need to do, then I need to go do it. But the rest of it, I think we got to quit beating ourselves up. We got to have positive thoughts. Don't focus on all the negative thoughts going on around it. Don't focus on the what ifs. Focus on what's real, and what's not real. Don't focus on that. I think that's good to have some support, confidence in friends and family, someone you can just talk to as well. I've talked about many times the importance of maybe a mastermind, or, you getting professional help through a therapist or friends and family. I think it is very good to express your feelings. And sometimes I think that can be very difficult for me to communicate well how I feel. I think the other thing I've been trying to do is relaxation techniques, and that can come in different forms, whether that's just breathing exercises, meditation, and just prayer for me, balance, just keeping a good work-life balance, eating a good diet. I think that's as good as well. And exercise, getting a good night's rest. That's one thing that's been really affecting me. I just haven't been sleeping well, and I'm not really sure why. So I'm trying different things to adjust that to see what I need to do. I kind of rattled through this list. I'll jot down some things and put them in the show notes. I'm kind of just winging it here. I do have some rough notes typed up here. But I really want to encourage you, maybe how do we deal with stress at work a little bit? Because I think these things will apply to our friends and family, and it's really the same thing. Mostly just establishing boundaries. When you're at work, give it your full attention, but don't be afraid to take some break. Whether you find some joy in coffee or tea, take a deep breath, walk away from what's going on. Sometimes it's good to change what I'm doing. When I'm walking through the plant, sometimes I get good ideas. So that rolls right in the other one to make sure you recharge. I think it's important to know how to relax. Don't be afraid to block off some time in your calendar to shut your door if you can. There's probably some people I know that can't shut their office door and just relax. Sometimes that can be very hard for me as well. And then the rest of them we already talked about. Just, try to find somebody you can confide in, discuss your stress. And I think one of the main things I try to do here is having a positive mindset. And for me, knowing your weakness. I have to be very careful to realize when I physically get tired. And if I'm physically tired, I either need to go take a nap, power nap, and maybe just need to get away from the situation for a little bit. And the other one that is to just block out blocks of time. And I've said this before, just do a little bit at a time. You can't eat the elephant all at once. So I got several projects to do. It's maybe focus on the major ones. And we talked about this in past. Write down what you have to get done. Do the best you can to get through that list. And I think the best thing to do is when you've done all you can do, know you're giving 100, 110%. Some days we're going to have to just chill out and rest. I've been dealing with a lot of friends that are stressed out as well. And I've just kind of, this message came through all of that, through some of the things I've shared with them, some of the things they've shared with me as well. And so we all have limits. Some people can handle stress differently than others. So don't beat yourself up if you feel like you're overstressed or overworked. But at the same time, realize that the stress is working you to be a better person. So let that stress work to your benefit, not beat you down. Stay on the positive side of the stress. And I know it can be easier said than done. So that is my message for today, that you would take your stress that we have and put a positive spin on it. I'm not making light of anybody's stress or workload, but I think that we have to put boundaries around them and realize that life is happening for us, not to us. And we do not have to beat ourselves up with the stress of our jobs. Everybody has stress. I don't know anyone that doesn't have stress in their life. So that is my message today. Don't know where the Bible verse is, but we are called to be overcomers. So look that Bible verse up. That's your assignment if you want to go dig that out. But you are called to be overcomers, and you can do it. Use the tools I shared. Find some other tools. I'd be glad to. Tell me what works for you if it's not on that list. All right, my friends, God bless. I will catch you next week.